Hello and welcome to Doc to Me. I'm Heather.
And I'm Kathleen.
And this week we are disgusting.
We are disgusting.
Every week we're disgusting. And this week we are discussing HBO's Woodstock 99, Peace, Love, and Rage.
So much rage. There's a
I think
whole...
from the viewers more. HBO has so many good documentaries, I feel like.
Yeah, this is a good one. I liked it.
Yeah, I feel like we go to HBO a lot lately. When we started this, I honestly thought we'd be going to Netflix a bunch, and I feel like it's been a lot of HBO.
Yeah, well, I feel like Netflix has taken a lot of, like, good stuff away.
They've done more, like, true crime stuff, like...
Yeah. God, so much true crime. Yeah.
Yeah. They know their audience.
That is true.
It was nice taking a week off, so I'm glad to be back at this.
I know. I definitely missed it last week, so...
Well, you at least got to come over.
I at least got to hang out, but, you know.
Just take a week off from work. I look forward to seeing you each week.
Aw, same.
Maybe because I'm constantly just surrounded by guys and wieners all the time. So, Woodstock 99, Peace, Love, and Rage premiered on July 23rd, 2021. It was the 22nd anniversary of the concert's first day.
Not an anniversary we should really be celebrating.
No. And it is the first film of a 6-part documentary series, Music Box. I looked into some of the other documentaries, and they kind of showed them, I think, at the beginning or the end. There's a Kenny G one that I'm oddly excited about.
Did it get really, like, was it a rager? It was a rager, wasn't it?
I think that's like the third or fourth one they're gonna do. There was like Alanis Morissette.
Oh, that'll definitely be.
But I was like, Kenny G.
Yeah, now I have to watch all of them.
I can't wait for that one. This was directed by Garrett Price, and I don't know why you would want to do this. There's a lot of weird people in it, though.
I honestly, so watching this, I felt old as shit. Like, yes. Because these are all bands that, like, I, like, grew up on and was really into in the 90s and early 2000s. And so I was just like, holy shit, they did not age well.
No.
like The Offspring, I was like, oh, man. Like, he looks like my dad.
Yeah. Well, and the sad part is, like, they're all that age.
Yeah, they are. And it's just, I think it's very traumatic seeing people that, like, you idolized or whatever, and then you're like, oh God, they're, like, basically my dad.
And this was in the 90s. I do recall seeing a fanny pack in this.
It was very 90s. It was, like, super, super 90s. You know, no cell phones. Mm-mm. People were definitely lots of, like, you know, this was, like, right after, like, Nirvana was, like, super, so, like, grunge and just...
I missed grunge. Didn't last long enough.
It really didn't.
Because this especially had too much Limp Bizkit.
There's a lot of Limp Bizkit.
I was not a fan, so I was just like, oh my God.
Well, and wasn't ICP there too? Like,
yeah.
I'm just like, that's the biggest thing for me is, like, this whole, like,
the lineup was
set list.
So
yeah,
stupid.
Like, who chose all of these artists together? Like, it just, and it's just, it's a weird mix. It's a weird mix. I don't know.
All right, we start off with an introduction by director Garrett Price, which I really liked. I like when they, like, talk to the directors of it.
Yeah.
It was basically just him talking about why he chose to do this. And initially it was going to be a comedy, but as he looked more into what happened,
there's nothing funny about it.
It was a horror story.
Yeah, there's literally nothing funny.
I'm just glad I was 11 at the time.
Okay, there's, like, one funny moment. Oh, I know. I was like, oh, shit, I totally would have wanted to go, but it was not safe for women, let me just say. And even my husband's like, oh, like, I totally would have wanted to be there. And even seeing this, I still would have wanted to be there because it's, like, you know, the chance of a lifetime. He's like, but you definitely wouldn't have been safe there.
Well, and do you remember seeing there was that, like, 11 or 12-year-old boy there?
Dude, there were children.
And this was, like, the second day, so shit's already fallen apart. And
I couldn't imagine, like,
still a kid there.
I can barely function taking my children camping in the woods or whatever. Like, fuck taking them to a fucking music festival where we're camping in tents around a bunch of, like, shit-faced 20-somethings.
Just the fact that they were there more than a day, I was shocked.
Yeah, definitely some not very solid parenting.
Yeah, you'll probably hear a lot of dog noises because my husband is not here to watch them.
It's been a rough week for recording.
Yeah. So August 15th, 1969, Michael Lang is one of the co-creators of the original Woodstock, and he's being interviewed about Woodstock, and I would say he was fucking blitzed out of his gourd. He was obviously high.
Yeah. I didn't really like him.
No.
Yeah. There were some things that he said that really set me off.
Yeah.
And I got rage.
You mean you got Woodstock 99, Peace, Love, and Rage?
I got rage, rage, rage. There was no peace. There was no love.
So we go to July 23rd, 1999, and I am already fucking loving the soundtrack.
Yes! Oh, God. It was like, that is the best part of this whole, like, documentary. Just the music. Because I'm like, oh, it takes me back.
The music and the shitty cars are just, yeah, it just takes you back. And the dude walking in on crutches? Who's going to a music festival on crutches?
These people were committed.
Like, I want to know what the backstory is, what happened to him, why he thinks this is going to work out. Because I would think all that walking, because the place was huge. Would,
yeah,
like,
it was
fuck
a fucking...
up his shoulder or something.
It was a fucking, like, Air Force...
Yeah. And then why are the news crews interviewing these kids? That just sounds like a nightmare. Like, worse than doing interviews at a bar on making a murderer.
Oh, God. Yeah. No, not your best audience.
No. And leading up to all this, we're reminded that Clinton has been impeached, and Y2K. You remember that
coming,
bullshit?
Yes. That was a huge fucking deal.
I remember my parents having, like, gallons of water in the garage, and then my dad had worked for the city at the time, so we had to go up to his work just in case street signals went down or something.
That was the best. I missed that level of panic, like when we were worried about,
yeah.
you know, January 1st, 2000. Like, that was good solid times. Now we're like,
school shooting.
Yeah, school shootings and
COVID, I guess.
Yeah, COVID, fucking pandemic. Yeah. Well, and I think this was like just after Columbine too. So it was like
3 months after or something.
Yeah, and so like there was a lot going on for our generation and the generation.
Well, and I hated that they talked about Columbine and talked about how they were bullied, which they weren't fucking bullied. I wish they would have gone into that just a little more.
Yeah, like maybe don't bring up Columbine if you're not gonna.
Well, bring it up, but not show news clips of they were bullied and for like somebody just come on and go, they were pieces of shit. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's not defend them.
We are informed that there are 10,000 staff people taking care of 350,000 attendees, which, I mean, already they're doing better than Fire Festival.
That's another thing I was thinking, because like, you know, after watching, you know, the Firefest doc, I just like it was better organized in the fact that like, yeah, they actually got to, you know, see the bands.
It was funny. It still managed to fall apart,
but it still managed. And well, no, I'll wait because it'll be spoiler. I was like, and something doesn't hold true for what Firefest had.
5 years earlier, they hold Woodstock 94 to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the original Woodstock. The original went so well, let's just try to bring it back.
Okay, but I think that, like, a lot of people don't realize that the original, like, first of all, times
were... It was also a clusterfuck.
It was a clusterfuck, yeah. It was a shit show. And also, like, they dealt with a lot of the same problems, you know, at the original. And a lot of those people were, like, homeless or like no, like, you know, they were like traveling around, you know, back in the 70s everyone was just like
60s
60s, yeah, my bad.
69, nice.
But yeah, it was a different crowd back then.
Though only 164,000 tickets were sold, the crowds at Woodstock 94 was estimated at over 500,000.
Yeah, a lot of people got in for free.
Tickets were $135 each, which that seems insane for even early 90s.
Yeah.
All they had to keep people out was just a regular chain link fence, so of course people just snuck on in, like they did with the original Woodstock, so they didn't learn from that. And not only snuck in, but also brought with them beer and alcohol, which was banned. 2 deaths at the
How
festival.
do you ban alcohol at a music festival?
2 deaths at the festival were confirmed. An unidentified 45-year-old male died of suspected diabetes complications, and a 20-year-old died of a ruptured spleen.
That is real hardcore.
Organizers also confirmed 5,000 people were treated at medical tents and 800 were taken to hospitals. So now it's sounding like Action Park.
Yeah, it was definitely
We're just tying everything.
Did they have their own ambulances?
I don't know. It's in the same area kind of as Action Park, and Action Park, that was the year they didn't open for the summer. So they could have just come here instead and had the same chance of getting injured.
Or dying, apparently.
But they thought it was a success, so they decided to come back in 5 years and go for it again. This time they turned to Rome, New York at Griffiths Air Force Base, which had been closed down a few years before. And an Air Force Base sounds great when you want to solve the problem of sneaking in without a ticket. Like, that place is going to be secure.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot more secure than the previous.
And it was also kind of cool at this base. Instead of like the boring concrete walls, they let people, like the community, paint on them. Which
I thought that was really awesome. They painted like all, like, to go all the way around the fence or whatever. Like, all those artists got together and painted, and that was so cool. And it pissed me off.
Well, what happens?
Yeah.
Woodstock 99 was held July 22nd to the 25th, and tickets went for $150 plus service charge. So, I mean, only $15 more than the 5 years before. It's pretty good inflation.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that. Now, service fees, that's
such
if we
bullshit.
if we could just go back to a time where we didn't have service fees.
Yeah, or if they were like 50 cents.
Yeah, exactly. Like, almost the cost of my fucking ticket.
Yeah. Cable network MTV covered the concert extensively, and live coverage of the entire weekend was available on pay-per-view for either $29.95 for a day or $59.95 for the entire festival, which I would have much rather spend like $60 and sit at home in AC than being out there.
Yes, I could not agree more. Like, everyone should have just done pay-per-view. It should have been like a virtual concert.
Or you could just wait and buy some of the performances on DVD, not to mention all the clips you can now just find on YouTube.
Yeah, or, just wait.
Just spend all that money.
Or just wait 20-something years and watch the documentary.
It's fine. All right, so we started off and James Brown is there. Why?
I mean, there were a lot of things I questioned.
His music is fun and watching him perform is fun, but why was he there? Like, I can get behind, like, there was Willie Nelson, Elvis Costello, but James Brown, I was like, no, how does that, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a fit.
Yeah, it was quite a lineup.
And then another one that was there was Bruce Hornsby. Which I think he played for Grateful Dead a little bit, so kind of, but I just go in there and listen to him play piano.
I mean, Jewel. They had Jewel.
Anyway, James Brown is there, looking tired as fuck, and there are a lot of white boys at this festival.
99%.
There was one attendee that just kept repeating, there's a lot of white boys.
Yeah. No, it's like 99% like young white dudes.
Frat.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrifying. Bad news starts right away when people got there and had their drinks, including water, taken away at the gate. I should mention the temperature at the time was reaching over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is in New York.
Yeah, in New York. And it was not on some like nice grassy field. It was a fucking Air Force base. So it was like a lot of concrete, just making it hotter and hotter.
Like, I can't imagine going somewhere and not getting water. I know we're in Texas, but I've never gone to a place where they're like, no, we need to confiscate your water.
Yeah, like even these days, like, I mean, just, not to mention like the idea, you know, their prices and stuff. Like,
yeah,
water's a basic humane, like,
it's water.
It's water. Yeah.
Michael Lang tells the press he thinks this is the best location they've had for a festival, which on the surface, yeah.
Maybe
however,
it's not as hot outside, maybe.
However, military bases are not known for having lots of trees and shade. It's a bunch of concrete and asphalt surfaces, and again, it's over 100 degrees. But fuck you and your water bottle.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
And these people are like in New York. They're not used to like...
No.
And I mean, sure, people traveled, I'm sure, but like, still.
It's insane. And oh my God, the anxiety I felt when they were at the Find People tent. Like if you lost somebody in your group.
Yeah, because again, they didn't have cell phones.
And there's so many people there.
Yeah, like you basically just, God, like that one dude that lost terrifying. His friend. Like,
oh, the guy that lost a 65-year-old friend.
Yeah.
Like, I turned into Billy Madison. Like, you get out there and you find that fucking dog. Why are you just standing around talking to people?
Yeah,
just doing interviews.
Like, I've been separated at, like, concerts, and that was, like, weird enough, and having, like, cell phones or whatever. But like...
hundreds of thousands of people there.
Of people, and it's just, like... I mean, it was a fucking mess. It was a total mess. And, like, oh, my God, think of all the body heat in the BO. Like,
yeah.
I can barely go to the mall
just
when it's crowded.
Huge sea of people, and to get lost and not being able to find your friends is terrifying. They're showing clips from TRL. And did you see Ja Rule make an appearance?
Of course I did.
I wasn't ready to see that face again. Still too raw. But Dave Holm looks incredible. He actually, all these years past, he still looked good.
Some people did age well.
In case you don't know, Dave Holmes was an MTV VJ or music television video jockey.
God, I remember the days when that was like an actual thing.
And fucking Moby. He's so upset that he's not listed on the welcome sign for the bands, which...
I laughed so hard at that.
Like,
you're like fucking Moby.
Yeah. And this did not help my impression of him.
No.
You're seriously upset your name isn't listed, which you're getting paid for this. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, like... As long as I'm getting paid, I don't care.
The most boring person I've ever listened to. Not to mention you're there to play on the emerging artist stage.
Yeah.
So it's not like this huge headliner.
Yeah, he was like in the like rave area or whatever.
Yeah.
I was just like, Moby?
Why does your name need to be on there? Just take your paycheck. Shut up. Which is a stark difference from our next feature, which was DMX. I was very uncomfortable listening to so many white people singing along with DMX.
Yeah, that was real uncomfortable.
They felt very safe saying the N-word multiple times.
With the hard R. Like, you can't do that.
He was encouraging me, though, but I was like, guys, no.
Yeah, you don't.
No.
I go to a rap concert or, like, anything like that. Like,
shut your mouth.
I am not singing along.
No.
Like, I know my place. I'm a white woman.
I don't even want to say it when I'm, like, home alone listening to
No,
music. I do not want to say it.
Because I feel like people could tell that I said it, and I'm a bad person.
Yes.
Say it. It was just a sea of hundreds of thousands of people, like...
just saying the N-word. I was like, oh my God.
It was not good. That was not a good start.
It was only 20 years ago. It's still not cool.
No.
And then we go to fucking Dave Matthews, who his quote is, "There's an abundance of titties."
Yeah, I can see why it was pay-per-view.
That should have been the line they did to open this documentary, because oh my God.
Yeah, my 11-year-old walked in while I was like midway through it and was talking to me, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm leaving," because there were like boobs on screen.
I did not go into thinking this. I did not go into this thinking I would see so many titties.
When I thought that like I was doing well for 34, but now after seeing so many like 20-year-old boobs, I'm like, I might need a boob job.
They haven't had kids ruin their lives.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the first night of music, and you have Dexter Holland from The Offspring telling all these young asshole white dudes to stop fucking groping women.
I was just like, yes, thank you. Now I have so much more appreciation for The Offspring.
It is never good when a bunch of white dudes come together.
No.
Like, that is so scary to me.
And like I said, like, dude, none of those women were safe.
No.
Like, it was a fucking shit show. Like, those dudes were not following any kind of ground rules at all for life.
Oh my God. So women are not safe, and once the sun is up and the people are all joining together, nobody is safe.
No.
Once that heat hits.
Yeah, like,
there were people like sleeping under trailers just to escape the sun and nap in the shade.
God, and when I saw that, I had like a lot of anxiety because they were basically just like propped up trailers, and I'm like, oh my God, what if it falls and crushes all of these like 6 people sleeping under it?
Yeah. And the one guy was smart enough to know the symptoms to realize he was suffering from hypothermia. He called it hypothermia, but I understood.
Yeah. Some people get that confused.
The medical report they showed was fascinating. Out of 1,450 cases, 60% were heat exhaustion and dehydration. 20%,
because water was $4 fucking dollars a bottle.
20% was minor injuries, and then 10% was respiratory. I was like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
We get to the point where people are pissed at the vendors for selling water for $4 a bottle, which that's fucking outrageous. And it was something all the vendors agreed upon.
Yeah, that was definitely a really shady thing to do in a not so shady place.
Well, the worst part was beer was the same price as water.
Right, and obviously when you have someone who's like in their 20s and, you know, beer is the same price as water, they're going to get the fucking beer, and then they're going to be more dehydrated.
Good idea.
You got to make the beer more expensive than the shit they actually need.
Yes. Michael Lang is defending himself by saying there was lots of free water around, but that would mean anytime you were thirsty, you'd have to go find a water fountain. People are not going to do that.
There are hundreds of thousands of people waiting in those lines for the water.
So it was like, regardless, you can't bring in your own water bottle, so you're going to be forced to spend $4 to get one, so you could just keep refilling it. Except that's not really going to work, because people were just bathing and showering in the water.
It was so fucking gross. All those like people like sudsed up, just like that girl in the water, like just sitting. Ugh.
People don't realize how dumb young people are.
Yeah.
So I could see already how this would just keep going downhill. People are hot, thirsty, drunk or high, and just not thinking straight. Eventually, this is going to turn to anger. I know if I'm in the heat all day, I get fucking pissed.
And we're used to it. We live in fucking Texas. Yeah. It's like 110 regularly, but fuck that.
A crowd of upset people, not great. I mean, we see what happens every Black Friday.
And that's not just a crowd of like 20-somethings. That's like adults.
People are just tired of waiting for free water, and so they decide to just bust a pipe. Which leads us to the mud festival we all remember seeing.
It was so much
except
mud.
It might not have been all mud.
Yeah, because then they're like inadequate porta potty count.
Yeah,
like
their toilets are backing up, and this is just Friday. There's still 2 more days to go.
That is not mud you're rolling in. That is shit.
So then we see Kid Rock. He was great in Joe Dirt. That's all I'll give him. He supposedly supports black people, but then said fuck Colin Kaepernick and then back Trump. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't have any
good feelings
towards towards Kid Rock.
I was like, why are we even... Can we just go back to Dave Matthews? He doesn't seem like an asshole. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he was good.
But up there with Kid Rock are the assholes flipping over garbage cans and starting drum circles, which, fuck you. I do not want to have to listen to that.
No one wants to listen to you bang on a fucking trash can, okay?
No.
You're not an artist.
No.
Like, you're just some fucking drunk kid. But also, I loved when that one kid was like, the hippies over there with their drum circle. Yeah. They were not hippies, okay? No, like, no one at this festival was a hippie.
No. And so they start beating on all these trash cans and stuff. So there's nowhere to put trash. So it is just everywhere on the ground. It was so gross.
Yeah, my 7-year-old would have had
hippies,
a heart attack seeing
just
all that
littering.
trash.
Jewel describes it really well when she says they had Woodstock 99 for the nostalgia, but it doesn't really work because this generation didn't have anything to fight for. There wasn't really anything to be angry about. Like the original one where you had like mob and racial. Yeah, well, we still have racial equality.
And gender equality. Yeah. Inequality. Like, I don't know. I would have to agree though that like I feel like our generation had a lot of angst and anger for absolutely no fucking reason. I look back on it and I'm like, why the fuck was I so angry?
Well, mine was more due to bipolar, but
I mean, yeah, I definitely had my own mental health
there was
issues,
really nothing to be angry at.
Yeah, there's a lot of like
we weren't angst. In war or anything. Just everybody shitting on Monica Lewinsky, which is bullshit. Yes. She's great. I love her. She's so funny. And yes, Jewel was there. This is the dumbest lineup. I would just like to say that I'm real proud that nobody chanted "Show your tits" to Jewel. We don't know. We didn't see the entire.
That is true, but I definitely saw when that one.
Oh, Rosie Perez.
Yes, when she comes out and it literally like everyone is just chanting, "Show us your tits, show us your tits."
She's like, "Fuck you! I'm not showing you shit."
Yeah, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, where does anyone think it's cool? Like when someone goes on stage to yell, "Show us your tits!" Like, fucking men.
My favorite was the girl who had written on her, "Show me your dick."
Yeah, she was like fully clothed. She's like, "Show us your dick." Like, it's only fair.
Show us your tits. Well, it's only fair you show me your dick. Yeah, that shut them up real quick. Yeah, it was a dumbass lineup. You have chill acts like Alanis Morissette, Dave Matthews Band, and Brian Setzer Orchestra. Why? I can't see that one going well. No. And along with that, you have Limp Bizkit, Korn, and Rage Against the Machine. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it's. I want to be in contact with the person who like picked all the artists.
I had no idea how big Limp Bizkit was. It was insane. I felt like that Principal Skinner meme that like, am I out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
Yes, like.
What was the appeal?
That one dude that was like talking about how he kind of looked like Fred Durst.
Yeah.
And like he was like rapping, and I was like, that was like the moment, like that was the highlight of his entire life. The dude's like in his 40s now, and that is what he looks back on, and it's like, God, I was so cool.
I don't understand why Fred Durst is so angry, other than his name being Fred. I don't get the appeal of Limp Bizkit, but I'll just move on.
Yeah, I was never a Limp Bizkit fan.
At this point, people are jumping around and causing complete fuckery, I think is the word for it.
It was chaos.
And when the camera pans out to this huge crowd of people, it triggered my trypophobia. Like, just all the small heads and stuff moving around. I had to, like, take a break because I was getting nauseous from watching it.
My social anxiety was like on edge. I was like, this is way too many.
That too, but it was
way too many fucking people.
It's like, oh, I gotta just walk away. Fred Durst is being all angsty and shit, and then comments on how cool it is people are crowd surfing on plywood.
So, yeah, it's like
encouraging bad behavior.
It's just like, this is so dumb.
It's like I don't understand it, because even as a kid, it was like, don't do stupid stuff. Don't run around a pool when the ground's wet. Don't run with scissors. So I don't understand people thinking it's okay to get up on plywood and crowd surf.
Yeah, it just... Not to mention, like, dude, if that plywood came over my head, fuck that. Like, that's not happening. I'm not fucking supporting.
There's corners on that thing. You get hit in the back of the head with that.
Fucking concussion.
It's like the people who ride on the top of cars. I don't get that.
I feel like we were just too smart for our own good.
I think maybe because my dad was an EMT, so he would come home and tell us like these horrible stories. Like, that's why we weren't allowed to like rollerblade or get on trampolines. So I think maybe that's why I'm always like, any situation I could see how something can go wrong. This leads to the whole thing of you can't blame an artist for how people act. Which in this case, I think maybe just skip singing break stuff when a crowd's already
breaking
just
stuff
in shambles. Yeah, just read the room.
Well, I like how they went out and like talked to him to try and get him to like calm the crowd down or whatever. And I was like, are you really asking Fred Durst to calm people down? Like, know your audience. Like, this isn't happening.
It really needs to be said that Limp Bizkit does not need to play at something called Woodstock. That's insane. It's like Peace, Love, and Angry White Boys. And if I knew I was going to have to sit through a second of listening to Metallica, I would have skipped this. I don't like Metallica. I haven't met a single person who agrees with me, but maybe it's just I don't like Lars Ulrich, which they shit on him during this. Over the whole Napster thing.
Yeah, that was definitely...
Remember Napster?
Remember when you would download something and it would say that it was going to be like 24 hours to download?
Yes.
And then the time just increased and increased.
Mm-hmm. I remember downloading a movie and it took 2 days.
Our children really don't know how easy they have it.
So on top of angry white boys, people being covered in mud and shit and being dehydrated, during the night they have raves going on all night.
Yeah, so it was literally like 24 hours.
So there's just people not even sleeping, and it's bad. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't take a large amount of people who haven't slept in like
you gotta
48
give
hours.
People a chance to sleep and sort of recover from being out in the heat all day.
But also, I don't know that it was safe to sleep.
No, that's true. By Sunday, angry frat white boys are tearing down walls, and security is non-existent because they basically just used the cover of the job to get into the concert for free.
Yeah, and did absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
and they weren't even like real security. It was like
you just took a class where they gave you the answers to the test.
It was like, what did their shirts say? Something like Peace
Patrol?
Yeah, Peace Patrol. I was like, we don't need Peace Patrol, bro. We need fucking like riot gear.
So you either have Peace Patrol or the what was the Rolling Stones one? Something Angels. Hell's Angels.
Yes.
Like they need something in between.
They need cops with riot gear.
Just... Oh, they get that.
No, I know.
Women are being sexually assaulted and raped, and it got so bad MTV left.
Yeah,
Do you know how crazy it is for MTV to leave?
Yeah, they literally did not feel safe filming anything.
They do spring break things every year, and even this was like, guys, that's too much.
Yeah, they literally ran.
And I never thought I would say this, but poor Jewel. First, they only had 3 female acts, and they set it up so it was only 1 a day, and she stuck with the last day. This poor woman has to come out and perform her chill music to this aggro crowd of dudes. I don't know how. Anyway, Jewel doesn't work because people are starting to set fires everywhere.
Yeah, someone gave everyone candles.
I understood. It was a group who was like trying to inform people about guns and how you don't need guns, all these people are dying, and they hand out candles.
Yeah, because they were thinking it was going to be like a candlelight vigil.
Yeah, they were supposed to have a candlelight vigil on the last day with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Why didn't you do it during Jewel?
Yeah, it's like the perfect time for a candlelight vigil.
So the Red Hot Chili Peppers encore, they decide to play Jimi Hendrix's Fire. Anthony Kiedis later stated in his autobiography, Scar Tissue, that Hendrix's sister had asked them to play Fire in honor of Jimi and his performance at the original Woodstock Festival. They were not playing it to encourage the crowd. But again, read the room.
Yeah, I would definitely say like the artists aren't at fault, but they could have done a little bit more to like scale it back. And they were talking about how like it was just like everything happened so quickly, like it was just like bam. But no, it was like a steady buildup of like shit going rough.
So many fires.
It was like the whole fucking place was on fire.
Just keep letting it get bad.
And they're still like literally the whole back area is like on fire, and they're like
Red Hot Chili Peppers still playing.
Yeah, they're still playing, and people are still standing there watching. I'd be like, fuck this. I don't want to burn to death. No. I'm leaving.
These dumb assholes obviously think you're encouraging them. You've seen how cities act when they win Super Bowls. They destroy their own towns.
There was so much rioting and looting and just like,
yeah.
And when they ripped down, were you gonna get to it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I was like, yeah, you don't see the players come out after Super Bowl wins and cheer the people on to destroy towns and climb up light poles.
No, they're fucking hiding.
After that, what's left just falls apart. They're destroying ATMs, trailers full of equipment and merch. Vendor booths are set on fire. Even an audio tower.
They're looting. Like,
even an audio tower's knocked over and set on fire. But what was it? One of the trailers, they found frozen pretzels. So they set those on fire.
That's a waste of a good pretzel.
That's so stupid. Even stages they set on fire.
Yeah, they set stages on fire. They were like just breaking shit and putting it on, like making huge bonfires.
What's left of the security is told to just get the fuck out for their own safety. They're told to like put their shirts inside out, put their badges inside the shirts, and just
they were worried that they would become targets.
I don't know how these people can participate in something like this and then just go on with their lives. The one guy was like, well, it was just the crowd went up. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Why you think that's okay to just destroy stuff?
There's a lot of really shitty behavior.
Yeah.
And that's not even, like, considering all of the fucking sexual assaults and, like, the girls that were literally, like, being fingered while, you know, crowd surfing.
Yeah.
And which that's a risk at every concert, I feel like, which is
horrible.
I'm never crowd surfing, like, because I'm a sensible grown adult, but
I remember being at a concert and somebody was crowd surfing and they kicked me in the back of the head and I blacked out.
I prefer concerts that come with seats because, again, I just want to sit down and enjoy the music. I don't need to rage.
My taste of music, I go to, like, old people. Like, when I went to Tom Petty and Steve Winwood. That was a chill crowd. It's all fine, though, because state troopers are heading in. How do you know it's a crowd of white kids? The cops are just strolling on through. Nobody getting beat up or anything.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of white privilege.
Yeah, women are being assaulted, shit's set on fire, people are rioting, and the cops were just like, hey kids, get out of here, you scamps. And then the rest of the film is just trying to find someone to blame for this. When really there were too many people. The acts just
didn't make sense.
No. Because then the poor people who are going to see, like, Dave Matthews, and they're having to put up with all this other shit.
So many boobs.
So many boobs. In the end, 44 arrests were made. 8 sexual assaults were reported. 4 of those being rape, which we all know that's a small percentage to how many
and
there really were.
Like the one girl said, like, a lot of them didn't even think to report it. They just wanted to get away from the situation. Like, yeah. And if you're in a sea of people and, like, you're being groped, like, who do you even, like, you can't, what's the point of reporting it? Like, you can't even know who has assaulted you.
Well, and then it was one of the guys who was arrested for rape was a prison guard,
and he raped a 15-year-old.
Like, what the fuck?
Just the whole thing, just, I was so angry about all of that. Like, just the fact that, like, there's so many young white dudes that, like, none of the girls there were safe.
No.
And this whole concept that, like, because they were showing their boobs, they were asking for it. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but if you see a naked woman and you think that, like, you have a right to touch her in any way, like...
And one of the guys
fuck?
Yeah, one of the guys was like, well, yeah, they were showing their boobs. I don't know what they expected. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, like...
And this wasn't a clip from... like, after Woodstock, this was the current one.
Yeah.
This was a current clip of a guy saying that.
Yeah, I was fucking appalled. I think it was, wasn't it the co-founder or something? Who,
not Michael Lang, the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fucking pissed. I wanted to, like,
bald fuck.
Punch him in the face. It was fucking disgusting.
After paying fees and fines, the city of Rome, New York only made $200,000.
Which is, like, less than $1 per person that was there.
Yeah. Approximately 6 people were injured during the fire and riot. David DeRosia collapsed in the mosh pit during the Metallica performance. His friend was featured in the film, sort of explaining, like, the backstory of the group being there.
And didn't he kept, like, a journal?
Yeah, he was keeping a journal during it. That's sad.
Yeah, because, at least at Firefest, he was right. Nobody died.
Yeah.
Nobody got hurt.
But, just...
In this case, they can't say that because people did die. And, oh my God, it was absolutely devastating when he was talking about how he lost his friend. He was, looking for him. And turns out he was in the morgue.
Yeah. It was just reading his diary entries about how excited he was to go see Metallica and then to just collapse during the middle of it.
Yeah, just...
Oh, so sad.
Hyperthermia.
When he collapsed, he started having seizures, so the medical staff just assumed he was ODing. It was the 90s, everyone's doing drugs, so obviously it has nothing to do with the heat. He was transported to an Air Force base. Oh, he was transported to the Air Force Base Medical Center and then was airlifted to University Hospital in Syracuse. A little more than an hour after he had collapsed, his body temperature was 107 degrees Fahrenheit. The following afternoon, he was in a coma, and a doctor had diagnosed him with hyperthermia, probably secondary to heat stroke. After being in a coma for another day, he died at 12:09 p.m. on Monday, July 22nd. The autopsy report ruled the death as accidental and listed the cause of death as hypothermia.
It's just disgusting.
Yeah. In 2001, his mother filed a lawsuit in New York Supreme Court against the promoters of Woodstock 99 and 6 doctors who worked at the event. The lawsuit stated that he died because concert promoters were negligent by not providing enough water and inadequate medical care for 400,000 attendees. It's so sad. I read an article about her filing the lawsuit and all that, and he was his mother's primary caretaker because she suffered from Lyme disease.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He might have survived if the medical tents had fucking thermometers. How do you not have something so basic?
Fucking, medical piece of equipment, like a thermometer.
Yes.
You can get them, super cheap. What the hell?
So they brought him to the medical tent at about 12:40 a.m., and it's not until 1:57 a.m. he's airlifted to a hospital where they finally take his temperature. Once they realize, oh, it's 107 degrees, he's suffering from hyperthermia. They probably would have saved him. They just taken his temperature right then. I can't believe how hot it is outside. How many people come into medical tents for heat-related issues, but your first assumption is this guy is ODing.
Yeah, a lot of...
It's been 20 years, and I could not find any sort of conclusion on the lawsuit.
I hope she got money.
It's just tragic. Members of the National Organization for Women later protested outside the New York offices of one of the concert performers. Several lawsuits by concert goers against the promoters for dehydration and distress were also announced. One of the ones I feel bad laughing at, a Canadian woman had filed a $1 million lawsuit against Woodstock 99 organizers, claiming she broke her ankle and developed a bacterial infection after being trapped in a portable toilet that was tipped over during the ride. I feel bad laughing about that.
Oh my God. It's so awful, but it's also the worst.
Can you imagine telling people, oh, how'd you break your ankle?
Porta potty tipped over.
I hope we never have another Woodstock. It is not necessary.
Well, and then they tried again in 2019.
Yeah.
And then had to cancel it, thank God.
3 months before it was supposed to happen or something.
It's not a good idea. We are not still the same Woodstock people.
No.
We don't need a Woodstock. We've got all these other music festivals that aren't a shit show and aren't full of women being raped.
Yeah. Well, we don't really know, but
not on this level, at least.
But we did get to see Vern Troyer during.
Yes.
Was he with Limp Bizkit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Another one of those where I was like, "Why are you here?"
There were so many people that I questioned why they were here. Oh my God. Oh, and I like how Moby escaped on was it Saturday night?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, the energy was like wrong. I had to leave. It's like,
shut up, Moby.
Probably for the best that Moby left. I couldn't see it going well for him. Oh yeah, and the people that tore down they were like, tear down the wall, and like the chick like wakes up and was like, oh, Pink Floyd's here.
Oh yeah, you love that part.
I cracked up so hard. She's like, Pink Floyd's here, and then she's like, oh no, they're just ripping the fucking wall down,
mm-hmm.
which pissed me off because again, like all those artists like spent all of their time and effort making this like beautiful like painted piece to go around the wall.
They needed something else to set on fire.
Yeah.
They ran out of stuff to set on fire, so they tore down walls.
Just fucking, so awful. I had a lot of rage watching this, and I'm not a 20-something white dude.
And that's the problem.
Too many white people.
Yeah.
It was a great doc. I liked the music, but...
There were a lot of angry people, and then there were a lot of people to be angry at.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, it definitely seemed like
the
event of a lifetime.
The promoters just didn't want to accept any fault in what happened.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, people died.
Yeah,
like this. It wasn't on the same level as Firefest. Firefest was a shit show, and they were like
really got
inconvenienced.
Hurt. Yes,
but no one got hurt, and they cannot
instead,
say the same for Woodstock '99. No, just let's.
There
keep
are people
that one
who are
in the
still
past.
suffering because of what happened.
I'm not a music festival kind of person. That'll do it. That'll do, pig. That'll do.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll be back next week. As long as if it's another shit weekend, we're just gonna call it.
We can't.
All right. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.